Alright, welcome back to Chapter 16 of Price Analysis. Let's talk for just a second about waste management. And when I'm talking about waste, I'm talking about hog manure in this case. So, in hog production, we have a large number of hogs housed together in a barn, and that means there's going to be a lot of manure in one place that has to be managed. Similar to the beef cattle feedlots, you got to do something with all that manure to make sure it doesn't, one, just stink for the neighbors all around, and two, make sure that it doesn't leach into the groundwater or the surface water. And you saw discussion of how Smithfield Foods is dealing with that in different locations, because different climates are going to naturally necessitate different best practices for manure management. So oftentimes it means that all the time, the floors of the hog barns are slatted so that the urine and the feces drops down into a subsurface area where it's either a temporary or permanent container for the manure. And in some waste management practices, that manure is then pumped out to lagoons or to tanks that are nearby the barn, or it's digested in tanks that are held underneath the barn. And also, as you saw in the Smithfield Foods video, it's really common for this manure, after it's had a little time with the microbes in these lagoons, breaking down the toxic elements of the manure, that this manure will be used as fertilizer for local farms. And it'll be used in fertilizer on all kinds of things. So corn, soybeans, alfalfa, you name it, it can benefit from using this manure as a natural fertilizer. Alright, so let's talk about the geography of hog production. So historically, hogs have been produced in locations that are close to corn and soybean production, and this makes sense because you're mostly going to feed hogs corn and soybean meal. So just put up the hog barns next to the cornfields, and that's a pretty efficient way to do it. However, recently, for one reason or another, production in the southeast United States has increased rapidly. And now, actually, North Carolina is number 2 as a hog-producing state, and it's the only top hog-producing state that's not in the Corn Belt. Taking a look at Figure 2 for a little more detailed look. This figure comes from the 2012 USDA Census of Agriculture, and it shows hog production by county. So it turns out that Iowa is number 1. North Carolina is number 2, and that's pretty evident from the map. Number 3 is a little less obvious, but we see Minnesota coming in here, and it's part of this same region of high-intensity hog production. And Illinois, Indiana are also important, and then we have Oklahoma with a few counties of very intense hog production showing up and making it the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the number 6 state. And then, obviously, Missouri and Nebraska are close behind. All right, to get a sense of how concentrated hog production is in these very hog-intensive areas, I'm going to have us just take a look at Google Earth in Hardin County, Iowa, which is Iowa's largest hog-producing county. So if I open up Google Maps, here I am at Hardin County, Iowa in this red square, and I'm just going to go in the middle of it here and zoom in. And it won't take us long to find some hog farms. Here's one. You see a bunch of hog barns there, and the manure crate is going to be underneath. Alright, and let's see if we can find some more. Looks like here's one probably, and this might be, but it might not be. Usually when you see a bunch of like 2 or 3 or more houses. Alright, let's just scale around here a little bit and find some more hog farms. There's one. Oh, that might be the same one we saw before. Oh, here's a lot. Okay, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one. And this looks weird. Let's see what it is. Oh, this looks like a giant pile of hay. So it must be producing alfalfa or something, because there's a lot of big bales of hay covered with tarps there. Alright, you get the idea. You can see there's a big hog farm. This is an older style one with a big lagoon nearby rather than underneath. And it's such a big hog farm that they even have a spot on Google Maps, complete with the Google review and everything. Ooh, here we go. Lots of hogs. You can just see these houses are just all over the place. Okay, you get the idea. There's a lot of hogs in Iowa. That's the point. Okay, this is a pretty good place to break again, so I'll see you in the next video.